it's been a little over a week since the new set dropped, and the landscape of this game has changed completely. There's strategies out there that no one could have predicted that's dominating the meta right now. So I thought, why not go ahead and make a video on the top 5 most influential cards from Space-Time Smackdown that are single-handedly changing the game. And if you like Pokemon Pocket content and the way I present things, go ahead and drop a sub, drop a like. It'll help us get out of that YouTube basement. We still trying to hit 1K subscribers. You could be the determining factor. All the power rests in your hands. Will you wield it, or will you let it slip away? That being said, let's go ahead and get into the list with the number 5 most influential card from Space-Time Smackdown, Dialga EX. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Dialga might be my favorite mon from the set so far. It is the great engine. Just in general, it's a great engine for metal decks and it's a great engine for colorless decks, but it's also a great tank as well. It just sits right in the front and powers up your back line. It's just perfect. It is so perfect. But you can also be creative with this and power up a lot of things that you didn't really know that you could. So stuff like Mega, it powers up Mew fast, it powers up Tauros fast. All these little side cards that can kind of go into anything, you can make a Dialga deck out of it. It makes deck building a lot more fun and you can be real creative with this engine. I've been trying like maybe 6 or 7 different decks with Dialga EX. That's how much I love this card. I think I played with it more than I played any other card in this set. It also has a lot of future potential, just depending on what we get with the sets, because just having the ability to put 2 metal energy on anything and being a strong tank with 150 HP in the front, I don't see that going away anytime soon. So I would just lock in, and if you haven't got yourself a Dialga EX by now, you might as well go ahead and start trying because it is good. It is good and it's a lot of fun. Now moving on to number 4, we got, well, I cheated a little bit because we got multiple cards here, but we got the tools. All of the tools here, well, not all of the tools. All the tools except Lum. Actually, let's talk about Lum a little bit here. See, the thing with Lum is that it's just a little too situational. You almost have to be able to predict that you're going to be going up against status conditions. And the problem with that is not a lot of people are running status conditions. I think the most popular status right now is probably Poison, and I think the only thing that's running Poison out of the top meta decks is Darkrai Weezing, and even that's like deck number 15 out of all the tournament meta decks that's out there. Maybe down the line, status will be more of a problem, and Lum will be useful, but right now it's not that great. But its brothers, Rocky Helmet and Giant Cape, are phenomenal. Let's talk about Cape first, because Cape actually really changed the meta. You see, Cape will help you get certain mons to above that 150 HP threshold. So stuff like Mega is going to go to 160, Dialga 170, Palkia 170, Darkrai 160, I believe. Same thing with Weavile, 160. All of these can start to survive hits from Mewtwo. Mewtwo went from top of the mountain to number 6 on the leaderboard of all the good decks, Mewtwo and Gardevoir. And part of that, I have to believe, is because of Cape. Cape makes it so that you can live that big Mewtwo hit, and then you gotta go ahead and set it all up again. It's just not been great for Mewtwo right now. But it's been great for us because we're getting real sick of Mewtwo. That being said, the other item, Rocky Helmet, I love that item. I think I like Rocky Helmet a little more than Cape, but that's just because of the decks that I run it in. Rocky Helmet's great, and it can pretty much go into any deck. It's almost like a free Greninja ability in one card that can go on any mon. But of course, it only works if that mon attacks you. Which is great because it's a deterrent against certain attacks as well. You know, you have certain mons, as soon as they see that Rocky Helmet, they know that if they attack you, that you'll be able to revenge kill because that 20 HP makes a huge difference sometimes. Even the 10 HP from like Giovanni makes a difference. So 20 HP can make a huge difference in this game. Not only that, I think it excels best in 2 different decks. First is like the tanky decks. The decks that heal over time and stuff like that, something like a Venusaur Shaman. You know, they're already hard to kill. And now, on top of that, every time you're attacking them, it's literally hurting you. This is perfect for those type of decks. The other type of deck that I think this excels in well is those fast aggro decks. So something like a Rampardos, Lucario, or something like that, that do real small damage but does it fairly consistently and fairly fast. I mean, this is perfect for something like that. Because most of those smaller mons that do that damage quick, something like a Farfetch'd or anything like that, they're pretty easy to kill. But now, if you try to kill them, they'll do another extra 20 damage. It's just like nickel and diming you to death. And if you don't believe that you can nickel and dime someone to death in this game, do I need to introduce you to Darkrai EX? Oh, that would have been such a good segue for Darkrai EX, but he's not next on the list. Oh my god, son of a Number 3 most influential card of Space-Time Smackdown, we got Dawn. Now Dawn's another one of those cards that can be used in pretty much any deck, but it has a lot of combos with some decks. For example, you got Moltres Dawn, where it's like as you get one energy, like put one energy in Moltres, put them in your active spot, and if you manage to get an energy on anything with Infernal Dance, then you can Dawn it and put it back on the Moltres, get another energy the next turn, and you got 3 energies on Moltres in 2 turns. And guess what? Now you're hitting for 70 damage. Dialga also makes energy. Say you hit him with a Metallic Turbo, you put that energy on someone in the back line, and guess what? Next turn, you can go ahead and Dawn one of those energies, and then put the other energy on there from your energy slot, and guess what? Now you got a Dialga that can hit for 100 damage in the next turn. Same thing with Infernape. If you have any mons on the back line with energy on it, and you got 2 energy on Infernape, you go ahead and hit them with Infernape one time, next turn you get a new energy, and you Dawn that energy back on Infernape, hit him again 2 turns in a row. It's so good and it combos with so many things that I can't even list them all. But even if it didn't have all those combos, it literally can help you attack or retreat in situations that you couldn't normally attack or retreat. How many situations have you been in where it's like literally down to 1 energy or 1 move that could have been made or 1 retreat that could have been done or 1 attack that could have been done? It's literally like that in this game where it gets super tight. So yeah, this card here can literally help make or break a game. But it won't break a game as bad as this next one, who is number 2 on our most influential list. I'm gonna give it to Darkrai EX. Now, I know half of you are probably shocked that this isn't number 1. Kato's smoking that stuff again, and the other half knows the true nightmare that's coming next. I mean, his deck is sitting on top of the throne when it comes to tournaments, and that is largely because of him. Remember I mentioned how Rocky Helmet was like a 1-card Greninja? This is the real 1-card Greninja. And it only really cost you 1 energy. Kind of. Because the thing is, you're literally building up your mon while doing damage to them. So you put this in the back line and just doing 20 damage to their active mon. You pair it with like a Drud Wall, pair it with Rocky Helmet, and then by the time you actually make it to the Darkrai, your mon's probably more than halfway dead. You know what I mean? On top of that, people pair it with stuff like Weezing and Ninja for more sustained damage, or you could go down the Weavile route, which does 70 damage for 1 energy as long as it has damage on it. Guess who that works perfectly with? Darkrai. Or you can even pair it up with Magnezone and have a heavy damage dealer that can power itself up. The possibilities are literally endless with this card, and that's why it's everywhere and influencing the meta more than any other card, except one. Now, before I get into that card, I need to go ahead and give some honorable mentions because there is some stuff that could have been on this list, but it's just, there's so much good stuff out there. It's literally, the stuff that's lower on this list isn't low because it's bad, it's low because the stuff above it is just so good. And that's kind of how this is. For example, Pokemon Communication. If you would have asked me when this first dropped, Pokemon Communication would have been on top of this list. Opening up comms to get whatever you need felt so good at the beginning. And now that I've played it over a week, it kind of feels a little like, instead of running 2 of these, maybe I just need 1. You know, you don't really get everything that you need when you need it, so sometimes it can be a little bit bad. Sometimes it can be a dead draw, especially if you got everything you need and all you need is something like a Sabrina or something along those lines, something to heal. It kind of sucks when you get Pokemon Communication. Another mon I want to mention is Manaphy. Manaphy is great. Manaphy is powering up a lot of water decks, Palkia is one of the strongest decks out there with Vaporeon. The only reason why I didn't put them in there mostly is because it can only affect water decks. This is not really like a everywhere kind of thing. It's only for specifically one type, okay? So it's like, as strong as that deck is, it's great for an honorable mention, but in terms of influential, it's a great deck that's strong in the meta right now, but that's pretty much it. It's just right there. So yeah, Manaphy's great for water decks, but I don't know if it changes the meta entirely. It just kind of adds to it, if that makes sense. But now it is time to get into the true monster, the Nightmare on Poke Street. This is the biggest, baddest boy on the block because it can help you take out anything. And I am talking about my boy, Licky EX, baby. Yes, that is a strong man right there. Think about it. He can literally do infinite damage. He can kill anybody he needs to, or knock anybody out. I'm sorry, you don't kill in this game. He can knock out anybody he needs to. Darkrai dead, Charizard dead, Palkia dead. We're not afraid of nobody. Licky EX takes care of. Hey, what you doing to my Licky? Hey, stop it! Stop it! Hey! Yes, the real number one of this list, the most influential card in this entire set is Cyrus. Now this card might actually be the most savage card in the game. Cyrus don't care about your mind getting some rest. He gonna hit you with that Scorpion. Get over here! Remember that Darkrai deck I mentioned before? It probably wouldn't be nowhere near as good without Cyrus. Most of the times you want to take out your tank to rest after you power up your backline, and Cyrus don't give a fuck about none of that, especially if the mon is EX. But I think what makes Cyrus so strong is that there's no real counterplay to it. I mean, what's the counter? Not taking damage? That's dang near impossible against something like Darkrai. Not only that, but not many people are running healing decks, and there aren't even that many cards that'll heal you to a point where it'll even matter. And if you brick and you only got like 1 or 2 mons, it might as well be an auto loss. It is a very strong card. I've lost plenty of games to this card. It's to the point where even some people want to see it removed. But I say give it time. You see, no matter what the game is, if you give people time, they will find a way to counter the strong shit. They will find creative ways to do it. So I know there's gonna be smarter people, way smarter than me, that are gonna come up with some creative ways to counter Cyrus, and then I'll eventually remember that the card even exists and start trying to play around it. See, I give this game a lot of praise, but one of the biggest things that I give praise about is the fact that it's actually a pretty balanced game. It's like most of the top decks are different decks, and it's like everything has a way to play around it. So I know even if we don't have something right now, I can imagine they'll probably put something out that'll help us deal with Cyrus. I know it sucks right now, just like Celebi sucked at the beginning, but then eventually everybody was like, oh, Celebi sucks now. Celebi, you could play around it this way, you could play around it that way, and I'm sure there'll be something like that for Cyrus as well. And then we'll move on to the next broken thing in the next set that they have and talk about how there's no counterplay to that. But what did you think? What is the most influential card for this set for you? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for coming through. My name is Kato, yo Poke homie, baby. Peace, love, later.